He taught me to cook, now I'm the world's best chef, and his rival wants me dead ***. Adrian stepped into Bellini's, Marco's restaurant, the place where he had once been and nobody scrubbing dishes. Now, it was a war room. Marco stood behind the counter, his fingers drumming against a cutting board, his expression unreadable. "You really pissed off the wrong man, kid," Marco muttered. "Yeah," Adrian said, rolling up his sleeves, "so tell me, how do I win?" Marco exhaled. "Victor LaSalle doesn't just kill careers, he buries people. If you want to survive, you don't beat him in the kitchen, you beat him at his own game." Adrian crossed his arms. "And what game is that?" Marco's lips curled into a smirk. "Revenge." The plan. The next day, Adrian made a move no one expected. He challenged Victor LaSalle to a duel, not with guns or knives, but with the very thing that made them enemies, a dish. One final showdown. Victor, of course, laughed. "You want to challenge me in my own domain?" he sneered when Adrian called. "You have no idea who you're messing with, boy." Adrian's response was simple. "I'm the only one you haven't been able to erase. Victor, you scared?" That did it. The duel was set a private, high-stakes event at Victor's secret underground dining club, Nocturne, a place where only the elite of the culinary world dined, where the rules of the industry didn't apply, where food was currency, and losing meant more than just humiliation. It meant exile. Or worse. The duel, the night of the competition. Adrian stepped into Nocturne, where the city's most powerful food critics, billionaires, and underground culinary kingpins watched in silence. In the center of the room stood two cooking stations, one for Victor, one for Adrian. The challenge was simple: one dish, any style, the winner takes everything. Victor smirked as he sharpened his knives. "This is your funeral, kid." Adrian just smiled. "Let's see." The countdown began. 60 minutes. Victor moved like a machine, a blur of flames and steel, crafting a dish that looked almost supernatural. His sauces shimmered, his cuts were flawless. It was clear he had done this before. Adrian, meanwhile, cooked with something Victor had forgotten long ago: passion. He didn't just make food, he told a story. He reached into his past, remembering the dishes that had saved him, the flavors that had built him from nothing. His hands moved with instinct, guided by something deeper than skill. It was soul, it was defiance, it was war. Adrian turned away, but his pulse quickened. He wasn't afraid of losing, he was afraid of what men like Victor did when they lost. That night, as he walked to his car, he felt it, a presence, someone watching from the shadows. He picked up his pace, gripping the keys in his fist like a makeshift weapon, but as he reached his car, a deep voice stopped him. "You cook like Bellini, but you play this game like a fool." Adrian spun around. A man in a dark suit leaned against a nearby street lamp, the orange glow casting shadows across his scarred face. "Who the hell are you?" Adrian demanded. "A warning," the man said, stepping closer. "Victor doesn't just destroy careers, chef, he destroys people." Adrian didn't flinch. "Then let him try." The man chuckled, shaking his head. "You really think this is about food? About some title?" He paused. "This is about control, power. The culinary world is just Victor's battlefield, and now, you're in the way." The message was clear: walk away, or be erased. But Adrian had fought too hard to get here. He had spent years perfecting his craft, sacrificing everything. If Victor wanted a war, Adrian would give him one. The next morning, he made the call. "Marco," he said when his old mentor picked up, "I need your help." There was silence on the other end. Then Marco sighed. "I told you not to get involved with LaSalle," he muttered. "It's too late for that." The scent of sizzling garlic filled the dimly lit kitchen as Adrian sliced through a fresh fillet of salmon with the precision of a master. He had learned from the best, Marco Bellini, the man who had taken him in when he was nothing but a desperate dishwasher. Hungry for knowledge and something more than survival, Marco had taught him everything: the art of balance, the science of heat, the poetry of flavors. But now, Adrian stood alone. He had surpassed his mentor, become the world's greatest chef, and in doing so, earned the wrath of Marco's greatest rival, Victor LaSalle, a man who didn't just view cooking as an art, but as a battlefield where only the strongest survived. And Adrian had unknowingly declared war by winning the International Culinary Championship. dethroning Victor after years of dominance. The first threat came in the form of a charred note, tucked inside a perfectly baked souffle delivered to his restaurant. "Cooking is war, and war has casualties," it read. Adrian dismissed it until the gas line in his kitchen mysteriously ruptured, nearly setting his restaurant ablaze. Marco had warned him about Victor's ruthless nature. He doesn't just defeat competitors, he erases them. Now, Adrian found himself in a deadly game where the ingredients weren't just spices and sauces, but knives and poisoned wine. He could run, he could hide, but that wasn't who he was. Instead, he did what he did best: he cooked. The night of Victor's infamous private dinner party, Adrian sent a single dish to his enemy's table. A dish so perfect, so undeniably masterful, that even Victor hesitated before taking the first bite. It was a silent challenge, an unspoken declaration: "You can kill me, but you can never be better than me." As Victor chewed, his face remained unreadable. Then, after a long pause, he simply smirked. "This isn't over," he said, setting his fork down. Adrian exhaled. The moment Victor set his fork down, Adrian knew he had crossed a line he couldn't step back from. The restaurant's ambient noise, the clinking of glasses, the hum of conversation faded into the background as Victor stared at him from across the grand dining hall. His smirk was unreadable, but his eyes held a quiet promise of something far worse than mere rivalry. Knowing the battle had just begun. Midnight.